Welcome to the September online chapter meeting of the Building Designers Association of Australia. My name is Jennifer Binns and I'm a building designer based in Tasmania, and Sarah Jane is with me managing the Zoom technology, and she's also going to be presenting today with information about the upcoming national conference. It's great to have you with us. We've got members logging in from all over Australia, so please let us know in the chat box where you're logging in from. So today, the third edition of By Design magazine Interiors was launched. Sarah Jane is going to put a link in the chat, and we would encourage you to download this latest edition. If you'd like to be involved in the next edition of By Design and have a project you'd like to feature, please reach out to media@bdaa.com.au. The theme for the fourth edition is sustainability, and we're looking for content around this space. So the marketing team can help write an article. If you've got something you want to share, make sure you're included in the next edition. So just a quick run through of the Zoom tools before we get started. You can, of course, ask questions throughout the meeting using the Q&A box, and you can upvote other people's questions. And you can also ask questions via audio with the raise your hand tool. We just ask you to check there's no background noise that will interfere with the audio. The chat box is there as a continuous message thread for comments, and Sarah Jane will use the chat box to post links. So the questions can get missed in the chat box. So if you've got a question, put it in the Q&A box and use the chat box for comments. I think we're all getting nice and used to the Zoom tools. So today, our first presenter is Lawrence Ritchie. Lawrence is the co-founder of Search Alex, which is a new free service to make product sampling easier. Lawrence has a background in property construction, design, detailing, and timber supply, and has always pushed for better, more sustainable ways of getting the job done. Search Alex was launched earlier this year and seeks to reduce the amount of wasted time, cost, and materials in the design and construction process. So Lawrence is part founder, part librarian, and host of the quickly growing podcast, The Specification, and he's talking to us today about how to browse and order product samples more easily than ever before. Hi, Lawrence. Have we got you online?
You certainly do. Thanks for that.
Welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's yeah, great to be here.
There you are. Now I can see you.
Yeah.
Are you ready to take over?
I am, absolutely. If that's all okay, I'll share my screen and we'll
I'll hand over to you.
Perfect. All righty. So just, can you see that?
Yep, we've got that.
Perfect. Lovely. All right. Well, thank you so much, Jennifer. And thank you, Sarah Jane, as well, for helping organise this. And of course, thank you to the BDAA for welcoming me along today. As Jennifer sort of introduced me there, I am a co-founder of Search Alex, which, as you can see on the screen, is an independent materials library. We are a relatively new startup. As Jennifer mentioned, I have a sort of background in construction and property and design, and have worked with a lot of consultants and builders and building product suppliers over my career, and sort of got to this point this year where we thought we'd jump out and try something and sort of try and improve the industry in which we work a little bit. So I really appreciate having this sort of platform to present the platform, and yeah, obviously look forward to presenting to you today. If you do have any questions, obviously, as Jennifer mentioned, feel free to put them in the chat box, or you can also contact me directly. There'll be my details available at the end of the short presentation. So Search Alex, I suppose before we get into anything, we do often get asked about the name. Alex in the name Search Alex refers to the Great Library of Alexandria, which is renowned as one of the largest and most significant libraries throughout ancient history. It was built in Egypt in around about 300 BC, and is said to have been burnt down by Caesar's armies about 300 years later, approximately, which was obviously a bit of a setback for human civilization. But, we're kind of hoping that one day, it could be a little while down the road, but one day we'll be sort of at that sort of very, very, very large scale in terms of what we're doing. So we are literally a library, but we are, as you sort of said, an independent materials library. So you can see here, this is just a screenshot from our sort of library page on our website, where users can sort of browse building products and materials as you would typically browse through your own internal materials library. But I suppose the slight difference here is that we have a very broad range of materials that is, much larger than a typical designer may have in their materials library. From a broad range of different building product suppliers. So as an example here, you can see everything from natural stone through to facade cladding from Fairview Architectural, who you may know one of the largest facade cladding suppliers, the whole way down to ASG, who used to be, until recently, known as CSG or China Southern Glass, who are, of course, a very, very large supplier of glazing in Australia. So we've got a broad variety of different sort of products in the library, and this is sort of what we're talking about when we're saying library. So as we've sort of mentioned, we are an independent library. We do have that online searchable sort of interface. But I suppose where we differ a little bit potentially from sites that you may be familiar with, like Archify or Selecta, is that we actually are a physical library. So we have our warehouse in Kensington in Melbourne. And what you can do, you can obviously browse our library online. And if you are looking for material samples, you can actually order material samples through that site. So that means that you can order multiple samples from multiple different suppliers, which we can then supply to you, within a couple of days by express post, all in one box, which we think is, a significant improvement on the current process. There is, of course, the slight added caveat that we are literally a library, so we do require product samples to come back to us once you've used them, and we try and make that as easy as possible in providing reusable packaging. We actually arrange for a courier to come and collect them from you, and obviously we provide all of that support. So really, it's a service where we're trying to make that sampling process a lot easier and a lot more sustainable for everyone involved. And of course, for building designers, it's entirely free. So we don't charge anything for, express delivery or for access to the site or ordering more samples. It's all entirely free for you. It's just something where, I've been in the room many times when, you've needed a sample. I've actually worked in construction and in project management in the past where we've required samples on projects, and it can be a real headache, I know, to get sometimes. So the idea is to improve that process as best we can. So the reason why we're doing this, as I mentioned, I do have that background in the construction design and a bit of design advisory sort of space. And through that time, we've done a lot of work with different designers and also in the supply chain with different suppliers. And over the years, I just sort of realized that, the sampling process is such a wasteful process when we think about it. The amount of time that you as designers have to spend on the phone or on their emails talking with salespeople who, of course, want to get more and more information out of you when you just need the sample. But then, of course, the salesperson, when they do sort of receive some sort of samples request, they may often try and deliver it in person, which can, of course, mean that they're just a glorified delivery driver, essentially, for their sample. And it essentially just results in a lot more time, total labor hours across all different disciplines, which is really, wasted. The other thing we do often find with samples is that they do obviously, typically, when they're received, they go into a materials library in your office, which over time can sort of reach a scale and a complexity where it can be really quite a big job to actually manage it and maintain it. So what can happen is material samples can go out of date. They can, maybe the supplier will have updated their products or updated their product line. Maybe they might have actually removed that or discontinued that product from the market. And of course, if it's sitting in your materials library, you don't necessarily know that. So you might end up specifying it only to find that it's a variation down the road just because, unfortunately, it's not made anymore. So what we're trying to do here is, I suppose, give the supplier a little bit more control over what's there in the market. So they can, they can update the samples in our warehouse much more easily than they can, updating all the samples out there in the market. And then it also means for you as designers and specifiers that you can access, the most up-to-date samples with all of the technical information you need behind them, obviously from one location. And you have that reassurance, I suppose. The supplier has complete control over what samples in the library, and it, I suppose, makes sure that, you know, it is up to date. So here, you know, I've just sort of said, you know, think about that last sampling experience. How was it? You know, often, you know, it might have been a positive experience, and that's great if it was. But did it actually meet these criteria? You know, did it arrive in your office quickly? Was it there within a couple of days of your order? Was it a very easy process? And maybe if you've built up a relationship with the salesperson, maybe it was. But often, you know, if you want to actually specify something new or something interesting, it does mean that you have to go out and, you know, start to try and build that relationship in the first place before you get anything. And obviously that can take time. And again, you know, there's a bit of waste in there. I think probably the biggest thing for me here is that almost the longest word there, I think just the longest word there is sustainable, really. You know, I think over the years, I've seen a lot of perfectly good building product samples go to landfill, which is, I think, you know, such a waste and such a shame. I know I'm myself, my partner's a graduate at a design firm in Melbourne City. And, you know, from time to time, there'll be a sample which sort of makes its way, you know, into the house or wherever it may be, simply because, you know, the samples don't always go back to the supplier just because, you know, you don't have time to get it to them. They don't have time to pick it up. And it just ends up being, you know, landfill at the end of the day. So that's really what we're trying to sort of change here, is pull the samples out of landfill and I suppose make for a more sustainable industry, not injury. So what does it actually look like for you? It's really simple, as I think I might have already alluded to. So all you have to do is jump on their website. You can essentially create an account. It's all for free, as I said. You can browse through the library. You can add the products to your cart and submit the order. The next is up to us. Essentially, it's in our court. We pick and we pack within 24 hours. So the delivery is out with Australia Post within 24 hours. And we're fortunate we actually have a great sort of partnership with Australia Post. So everything will be coming to you, you know, via Express Post. And we have multiple pickups from our facility every day. So it's, you know, really everything should be coming quick, like very as quickly as it can. And then finally, when you're actually ready, we will arrange for the collection of the samples from you. So again, we'll be working with Australia Post for the majority of those. And it just means that we can obviously collect the sample and then actually reuse it with future orders. So it never really makes its way into landfill, which I think is a really positive outcome. So what does it actually look like doing this? So if you jump on our website, which is searchalex.com, you can see this is our homepage. You can essentially access a whole heap of information through here. But if you do want to order samples, the first step you'll have to do is to actually sign up, which shouldn't be that much of a surprise. Now, we are only open to design professionals at this stage. So, you know, not open to mums and dads who are doing their renovations, unless obviously they've engaged an interior designer or a building designer to support them, or an architect to support them with that sort of work. So that sign-up process does require an approval from our internal team, which can be pretty quick, particularly if you use your business email address. But if you just use your personal email address as, you know, someone at Gmail or someone at Hotmail or info at a business, it can take us a little bit longer. We might actually need to get in touch with you just to confirm that you are a business before we can approve you. So that's step one. Then you can browse the library. As you can see here, we've got a selection of products. I would note that we are quickly growing, but we are a very new company. So we have, I think we've got about 60 products in the library at the moment, but we are constantly growing. And if there is something that you would really like to sample, but you can't find on here, let us know, because it means that we can go out and we can source it. You can have that, you know, that sampling experience. We'll obviously organize everything for you and we'll get it to you. But it just means that we can make sure we've got it in the library for when you need it next time as well. If you click through to one of the products, you can see, you know, pretty typical product page. You can obviously share it if you'd like to. You can save it to actually your favorited products. If it is something where, you know, you don't need to specify it right now, or you don't need a sample right now, but you're interested in it. But if you do want to order it, of course, you just add it to cart, which is very, very straightforward process. And then you can just go through and submit that order. So I'm not going to take you through that entire process. But what we then do is, from our side, we pick and we pack. As I said, we pack everything in wherever possible. It is fully recyclable packaging. We're currently at this stage in some talks with a few packaging suppliers to get some really robust recycled packaging, which we can actually reuse for dozens of orders. So that'll be great when it comes through. For now, we're just working with fully recycled boxes. So obviously it's just an example. These plastic bags, or I should say they're not plastic, these black bags, which are fully compostable, are really interesting. If you've done much purchasing through e-commerce, you may be familiar with them. But basically they have a double seal on them. So what happens is when we send it out to you, we seal it with one of the sticky seals. When you receive it, you sort of chop along a line where it says cut here, and then you can actually return the samples in that same parcel or that same packaging using that second seal. So it's a really, really good solution to limit the amount of sort of materials that got going to landfill. And that's it, basically, just a real whirlwind. Thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate the opportunity to come on and talk to you. If you do have any questions, please do feel free to send me an email at lawrence@searchalex.com, or you can call me at any time. Or alternatively, obviously more than welcome to jump on the website, and there's a bit of FAQ there as well. So yeah, hopefully that'll help.
Thanks, Lawrence. It's really an interesting concept to be loaning samples out and having them returned. And there's a few comments that have come through, but is it a national service that you're offering?
Yeah, absolutely. 100% national, all throughout Australia. Unfortunately, haven't looked at, New Zealand quite yet, but absolutely all of Australia.
And are there timeframes that you can loan materials for, or is it just an open-ended?
Yeah,
no. Back when you're done.
That's a very, very good question. And yes, there are timeframes. It's based on, what we're learning from the market at the moment. But we're looking at the fastest or the shortest hire time being sort of a week if you just need it for one meeting. And that's a week with you or with the designer. So it doesn't include shipping time. Or, it could go up to even a couple of months. Or if there is a circumstance where, a user requires permanent hire or just ownership of a sample, that's absolutely fine as well. It's just something where we can confirm it with the supplier, and essentially we send it out and then we just get backfilled from the supplier. So there are a few different options in that sort of space.
Yeah, I think a few of us would just love the idea of not having an office that just collects endless samples.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's some of the questions that have come through. Do you distinguish non-sustainable from sustainable materials and support products such as bamboo, mycelium-based or hemp-based building materials?
Yeah, look, absolutely. So we don't have bamboo, mycelium, or other I suppose those specific products in the library right now. We would love to have them. It's actually part of the reason why I set this up in the first place, is because I think there's some amazing products out there which you just can't get samples of. So that would be certainly very, very welcome in the library. We do have we've got a number of filters on our search page where users can filter down different search results, and one of the items under that filter is environmental. So we have a question saying, does it have an EPD, or environmental product declaration, and a percentage of recycled content included in it. Moving forward, we'll actually be expanding that out. So you can search for compliance with a range of certifications, largely under Green Star, because you may know Green Star refers to a long list of different environmental certifications. So there will be that sort of functionality in the future. But yeah, at this point, we've just got the bare bones, really.
There's another comment about sustainably disposing of discontinued samples from the office library is a big task. And somebody else has actually asked, what is the best way of sustainably disposing of samples that are no longer needed?
Yeah, look, it can be a really complex one, and it can depend on the building product that you're actually looking to dispose of. Our function, how we are intending to do this, because of course we're so new that we don't have any out of date samples yet. That will be purely through engagement with universities to support their students in specifying products as part of their programs, so design studios. So that will be a really great way to be doing it. For businesses as they are, who are looking to, dispose of those samples sustainably, or just get rid of the samples, not necessarily dispose of them. First step is certainly to talk with the supplier. Understandably, they might not always be interested in picking them up, but I do know that a lot of them are, having spoken with a lot of suppliers in the last 6 months. And if that doesn't work, potentially repurposing in the office or around the house, I know that could only go so far. So perhaps the next step, if you do have enough of them, is going and talking with your local school or university or TAFE and seeing if it's something which they might be interested in collecting for their own materials library for their students.
George has said, can we ask you for more pictures of the sample and have them sent to us instead of the physical sample?
Yes. So there is on each, I suppose, product information page, there is a series of different photos of the sample itself, as well as the sample in use. So I should say product in use. So, installed state. And we do also have all the, technical information, which is available to us. So, tech data, MSDS, EPDs, if they're available, fire tests, if they're available, all of that is available on that product information page. So that is all there. If you do just require more photos of the sample, then yeah, absolutely. You can get in touch with me and I'm happy to take, a few samples and a few photos, I should say, and send them across. But hopefully there's everything you need on the page already.
Roxanne has said, love the reuse direction. And Maria said, thanks, Alex. Is the packaging home compostable? Yeah,
so at this stage, absolutely, that the packaging is home compostable. But I would say, so importantly, we don't want you to compost it because we want it to come back to us. So, it will, one day get recycled and composted. But please don't receive a box, rip it up and put it in your compost, because the whole purpose of this is that we're, not just using it once, we're really doing almost the highest level of sustainability, I suppose, and that we're just reusing rather than having to produce it every time.
Maria's also asked or commented that global green tag certification is also important information for specifying designers.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really appreciate that. That is one of, their different levels they also feed into Green Star. So they will be out there on the platform, but they're not there just yet. So I appreciate those. It's an important one.
Rex has asked if you charge a fee to material suppliers.
Yeah, so good question. And absolutely. At the end of the day, we can't do this for free for everyone. So we do charge material suppliers for being involved in the library. From our discussions with them so far, that they have seen the benefits to them in actually reducing the amount of wasted time for their salespeople, because of course, that samples process does eat up a lot of time for everyone. But also in essentially improving their sampling process. I mean, I'm sure from, the designer's point of view, there would have been many circumstances where they'll request a sample. Someone will say, yeah, sure, I'll get it to you, later this week. And then it just never shows up. And obviously that's potentially a lost sale for the supplier as well. So the suppliers who we've spoken to so far have seen the benefit there.
Great.
Cool.
Andrew has asked, does each product have product pricing? That's a good question, actually. I'm interested in that too.
Yeah, it is a good question. At this stage, no, we don't have that level of information. But we are aware that it is, there's a lot of people who are very interested to hear the answer to that. And it's just something where, of course, pricing, particularly at the moment, can be a bit volatile. And we're just, where our main focus is getting products on the platform first, and obviously getting them out and refining that process to make it as smooth as possible. And then we'll be expanding it out with all of this information, the things around it, certifications and things as well. So that will come with time, but we're just not there yet.
There's some really positive comments coming through in the chat box. So I think there's some great support just for the concept of reusing. Reusing these samples. So well done. Thank you.
Oh, great. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate the time and the opportunity. And really, all I could say is thank you to everyone for welcoming me and being so positive. Please feel free to have a bit of a look and apply for an account. We can go from there.
Very good. Thank you.
Great.
Thanks for joining us.
Cheers. All right.
Bye. So Sarah Jane, I think we've got you up next. Hello.
Hi everyone. How are you? Okay, let me just share my screen. I am actually excited to present to you today about the National Design Festival. So let me just get started.
And I'm going to hand over.
Okay. Just going to see if I can remove all these pop-ups that I have as a result of being the host. Okay, so as you are all aware, we've got our National Festival of Design this year. It's going to be in Melbourne from the 27th of October to the 1st of November. Now, today I'm going to go through with you the full schedule, who's presenting, when are they presenting, what's our new format, all the extra add-on features that we actually have been able to incorporate into this year's conference. The theme for this year is actually rebuild. Whether it's rebuilding your business after COVID, whether it's as a result of bushfires or floods or some other circumstances that have taken place, all of the presenters are going to use that as a theme, as an underlying theme for all their presentations. And so as a result, we, the BDAA, have actually been able to reimagine what our conference model is going to look like. And we've actually turned it into a festival this year, mainly because we have been in lockdown for such a long time. We've had to do 2 online conferences, and finally we actually get to go back to face-to-face. So we're going to be including a trade show, an architectural walking tour. We've got member fan experiences, and I'll explain what that is to you as well. So the official conference dates are the 27th to the 29th of October. So Thursday, the 27th of October, we're going to be doing a trade show at Big Plans in North Melbourne. On Friday, the 28th, we've got day 1 of the conference. We've got an architectural walking tour happening in the afternoon, and then we've got a global launch of tools in a networking evening on the Friday. Then on the Saturday, we've got day 2 of the conference, and we've got the National Design Awards Gala dinner happening on the Saturday evening. So I don't know if you've actually had a chance to go to Big Plans in North Melbourne, but it's where we're able to actually hold our trade show. What it is, it's actually where they digitally project the floor plans so that you can bring your clients and see a 1-for-1 ratio of how your plans are actually going to look. You're going to be able to let your clients see, is that walk-in wardrobe actually as big as what the wife wants it to be? So this is a great opportunity to come down and also have a look at what they offer as a concept. Now, the trade show is open to all designers. Even if you are not attending the conference, you are welcome to come to the trade show. It's free entry, and we hope to be able to bring lots of manufacturers and suppliers that you don't traditionally see at trade shows, and ones that are specific to building designers and TPAs. I've just put a QR code there, so you're welcome to scan that to attend the conference, to attend the trade show. You can share that as well with any of your colleagues that are based in Melbourne if you are not attending the conference and you just would like them to go and check it out. Obviously, we're going to have some complimentary drinks, some food, and a real wonderful chance to actually have a look around at all these different trade tables. The 2-day conference is going to be at the Pullman Hotel in East Melbourne. Now, that's not to be confused with the Pullman on the Park in Albert Park. It has a very similar name. So we're at Pullman Melbourne on the Park, which is in East Melbourne near the MCG. That's going to be the home base of the festival. Everything we do will be picked up and dropped off from that particular location. And we will be arranging for a courtesy bus for everyone who is attending the conference to actually go to the trade show. Again, that will be picked up from the Pullman Melbourne on the Park. So even if you're not staying there, we meet there and then we can shuttle you off to all these various exciting activities that we've got going on. This year, we've actually got a really fantastic lineup of speakers. I know in the last couple of years when we've been doing online, we've been able to bring you top tier presenters, and we think we've done the same again this year. we've actually been able to reimagine what the conference model is going to look like. So if I can just give you an example. So what we're going to do this year is we're actually going to reduce the amount of time that each of the key speakers is up on stage. Because in previous years, the key keynote speaker is at the front of the room, and you don't really have much of an opportunity to really engage. You can ask a few questions, but it's not really that in-depth. So if I can take Paul Ha, for example, now Paul's going to be doing a half-an-hour presentation to everyone in the room. And then from there, if you're interested in what Paul's talking about, you have an opportunity to go into a breakaway room with Paul and have a more in-depth conversation. He's going to be running a workshop, and so are the other individual presenters as well. So it's really about what is most important to you. We're trying to bring content to you in which you have an opportunity to improve your business, but also focus on what do you want to learn more about. So for example, Paul is going to be talking about new opportunities for business professionals in a climate and biodiversity emergency. So that's going to be his 10:30 till 11 keynote. And then from there, he says, reflecting on his many years as a small architect, builder and farmer, Paul will touch on practical ways in which this realignment in professional gaze can bring us fresh relevance and new work opportunities, from how we engage with our clients to help conceptualize their projects through to how we procure materials and facilitate construction processes. And he'll be exploring a few of those ideas in more detail in the roundtable discussion. So just to clarify, short keynote presentations, have lunch, identify what is important to you, and then you go into these various streams and have smaller groups, small round table discussions where you can actually really get involved. And each of these various speakers in the mix and match workshops, they're doing it in a structure where it's more engaged. Then in the afternoon, we've got Peter Stutchbury and Talina Edwards. They're going to be doing a conversation around Peter's design philosophy. Then in the afternoon of that day, we've actually got an architectural walking tour, and that's going to be by famed and noted Melbourne historian Peter Johnson, and he's going to be doing this fantastic tour around Melbourne with all these wonderful, beautiful buildings. And then from there, we're going to bring you back to the hotel, and we've actually got a networking night that we're going to be putting on. And this is going to be sponsored by Tools. They're going to be doing the global launch of their new product. I'm sure many of the members actually already know about Tools. It's actually really, I think, going to revolutionize the industry. It's a product that is going to compete against standards. So you're going to be able to visually see the standard on your phone or on your desktop. You're going to be able to snip it and clip it and send it off to the builder to give them the exact measurements, whether it's a ramp, roofing lining, etc. All of those details are there. Now, with that particular night, because the BDAA is a foundation partner, the BDAA members, regardless whether you attend the conference or not, will be getting an amazing rate for this particular product. But if you attend the conference, you will be getting a further discounted rate that will last the lifetime of your subscription, and you will never pay any more. Day 2. We are going to have this day 2 here in the morning. If you are fortunate enough to participate in Peter Stutchbury's workshop, he's got a limited exclusive workshop in which he will be working with BDAA members. If you are fortunate enough to participate in that, we will be recording the timber panel discussion so that you do not miss out on any content from the conference at all. Once you sign up to the conference, there is the opportunity for you to opt in to which various streams and activities that you want to participate in. So Peter will be doing a masterclass. It is limited numbers, and we will be inviting everyone to, identify if that is something that they're actually interested in, because it could actually be Jane Hilliard. She's also kindly offered to do a workshop as well. So as well as her keynote presentation, she will be doing a roundtable workshop with a select group of people. When I say select, it's actually just really about what is most important to you. You opt into the programs that you want to participate in. This year, we will be offering 20 CPD points for the event. Now, I know it's very difficult to get formal CPD points. If you wanted to keep the formal CPD points to maintain registration, accreditation, or membership with another association. So what we're going to do this year is, if you attend the conference, you will receive a copy of all the recordings which accrue formal CPD points, to be able to actually review those, complete the quiz in your leisure. Because I know there is nothing worse, I've actually seen it, people trying to concentrate on what the speaker's talking about while trying to also answer these quiz questions simultaneously. It's not an enjoyable experience. So our new model, our rebuilding of what the conference looks like and what the CPD program for the BDAA at the conference is going to look like, means that you can actually do the CPD element after the conference. Come to the conference, enjoy, have a wonderful time, learn so much information, but then know that you have this opportunity to actually accrue those points post the event. Then we have the National Design Awards. So that's going to be at the Melbourne Museum. Again, we're going to be able to have a courtesy bus pick you up from the hotel and take you to the Melbourne Museum. The Melbourne Museum is not far from the hotel. So if you're wearing flat shoes, you are welcome to have a lovely stroll. Hopefully it's going to be a lovely evening. But if you are on high heels or you just don't want to walk, we will have a courtesy bus who will be there for you to be able to drive you to the museum as well. Now, these are the optional extras. So I wanted to mention to you, I'm from Melbourne, as I'm sure most of you know. So I know that the day before Melbourne Cup Day is actually a fake holiday. So Monday the 31st, we thought there's probably going to be lots of members who actually want to stay and extend and have a really nice time in Melbourne over this sort of festival, summer carnival period. So what we've been able to do is we've been able to work with our industry partners about creating member fan experiences for the Sunday and the Monday. And then we hope that everyone can join us on the Tuesday for the Melbourne Cup. So just an example of what the Sunday and Monday could potentially look like is we've been fortunate enough to have Colorbond offer us the opportunity for members to actually do a tour of the block. So in between when the block is being completed and it's actually being handed over, they're just working out the logistics now, but there will actually be this opportunity to take a group of people via a bus out and have a guided tour around that particular project. So that's out in Gisborne. In the opposite direction in Melbourne, we actually have WeatherTex, who is organising a tour down at the Cape Patterson. They've got a sustainable community down there, and we'll be having a presentation by one of the builders and walking through these various projects. You are probably familiar with Ashley Beaumont. He actually is one of the designers who's part of this particular project. He's not going to be around to take us through this particular element, but we'll be able to see some of Ashley's work on site. Then we've got the Melbourne Cup. So again, we invite you to come and join the Melbourne Cup. The Melbourne Cup is on a pay-to-play basis. The BDAA will offer you a complimentary ticket into the general admission section, which is where we're all going to be. But we hope that then, you just buy your own drinks, do your own betting, or just actually enjoy the day. So that's on a pay-to-play basis. Now, you're thinking, that's amazing value. How much is all this going to cost me? Well, for the BDAA members, we've got the super early bird special, which is $5.95. Now that's going to be finishing next Friday. So you've only got sort of a week and a bit to finalise your arrangements to see whether you are going to join us for what is going to be an amazing conference. There's going to be so much jam-packed information. I think one other thing to note too is that this is not going to be available for recordings if you do not attend the conference. It's only available for the conference attendees. So another QR code. If you wanted to find out more information or you want to go ahead and book your ticket, just scan that QR code and that will take you to the Eventbrite page. And from there, you can purchase your ticket and let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.
Sarah-Jane, this is very exciting. That looks like a fantastic conference.
I think so too. I think the thing is, we've got to reimagine. We can be better than what we have been previously. So let's go big or go home. That's what the BDAA is about. So festival, here we come.
And I love the idea of the tours and the walking tours and just being able to go and see some projects in person. That is going to be fabulous.
So too. Yeah, I think the WeatherTech project down at Cape Patterson, where they have got that sustainable community, it's called Core 9. So that's down in like Cape Patterson, Leongatha, I think it's Leongatha or Wonthaggi Way, and Gisborne is in the other direction. So we're going to put one on each day. So, you know, potentially you can attend both. There are limited numbers because it is based on buses, but like, why not? What a great opportunity.
No, I think it's fabulous, and I'm hoping people are going to take advantage of it.
Yeah, and there's other industry partners who are doing bits and pieces as well. So that's just the highlight reel so far.
Thank you. It looks great. So Andy has asked, what is the tools product? Do you want to just give a quick run through of what that is about again?
Yes, I can. So the tools product is a equivalent to standards in which members will be able to actually put it onto their phone, and it's more of a visual representation of the standard rather than a written representation of the standard. So when you need to tell your builder a specific element of maybe a rise of a ramp or where a handrail, what the measurements are, it's got this amazing detailed drawings of how exactly your builder needs to do that. So I think that's where the members will get the most amount of value, is this easy clip, snip, send model, and there's no sorting through which standard is it, which is the one sentence, how is it interpreted, etc. So that's the product.
There was a presentation. Did they do a presentation? Was it last year?
They did, yes. So that's why I thought maybe some of the members may be familiar. So that was in the very beta mode. So now they're at the mode where they're going to be doing the global launch at the conference. And because the BDAA is a foundation partner, there will be a pricing model that will be available to all BDAA members as a foundation partner member. But separate from that, and in addition to that, if you attend the conference, there will be further conference discounted rate that is valuable for the lifetime of your subscription. So you will never pay higher than what you will when you're at the conference.
Okay. So Maria's just asked if she can get the QR code again for the tools night. So we'll just get that posted.
Yep, sure.
On that. Yep.
So the tools night is actually a part of the networking evening. So that's going to be in the hotel. So you would have done day one of the conference, go on the architectural walking tour, or you don't have to, and then come back, and the networking night is actually going to be at the hotel. So we're hoping to use the hotel as our base. They're going to have lots of tool geeks there to actually help you download it, subscribe, show you exactly how it works, and you're able to also then use your unique set of circumstances to be able to talk through with this geek about how exactly it's going to work for you.
That's fabulous. That is an exciting tool that we're going to be able to use, I think. When are the Student Design Awards being announced? I assume that's part of the main design awards.
They are, yes. So that is going to be on Saturday, the 29th of October. All Design Award winners will be announced.
There's a comment. Hi, SJ. Back to the Excellent by Design magazine. Are there any plans to allow it to be downloaded? I'm not sure.
Yes, there are plans. Yes, there are plans. The backstory to that is I didn't set the file up correctly for it to be downloaded, but I will in future editions.
Right.
So yes, that is on the agenda.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that Sorry, you go.
Oh, I was just going to say I wouldn't mind receiving any feedback if you've actually had a chance to have a look at the By Design magazine. I'm welcome to receiving constructive criticism, but we want to be able to represent and present our members' designs as best as possible. So I select all the images that come via your Design Awards application. So we've just recently had an article that was about getting your hair blow waved, but we've got a fantastic designer out there who had this wonderful salon design. So even if you're not an award winner, you still have this opportunity to actually have your images and your projects presented actually in this magazine once we do the downloadable version, and we're also going to be able to do a print on demand version as well. So if you are highlighted and you would like to send it to your client to say, look how fantastic I am, we'll have those sort of capabilities as well.
Right. Matthew said, back to the Student Design Awards, the prize was access to the conference. So I was under the impression that student winners were informed in advance.
Yes, they will be. Yes,
okay.
That is correct. Yes. I have to say that the finalising of the Design Awards literally just took place this morning. So the final list was just emailed to me this morning. So now I'll be able to be in contact with that student award winner and make arrangements with that particular person.
Great. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's just a comment from Jane saying, doing a great job, BDAA team. So well done, Sarah Jane. Worked very hard and you're doing a fabulous job.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
All right.
Do you have any other questions?
Actually, there's probably some more. Yes. George has
Okay.
said, why don't you do it in Sydney next year? We can't make Melbourne too far away.
Yes, I think that's one of the objectives, is to actually move the conference around to every single state. So I think in recent times we've done South Australia, we've done Queensland, we're doing Melbourne. Yeah, I think, Sydney, WA, other locations. We want to make sure that we have the opportunity for people who are not located in New South Wales to also, attend these conferences as well. But there's no reason why it can't be in Sydney or regional Sydney, regional New South Wales.
Sam has said, why can't we have an option to purchase the recorded conference? It's all great for the people that can go, but for those that can't, miss all the opportunities that you're promoting.
I don't know the full answer to that as yet. We haven't actually got the capabilities to record each of those unique sections that are going to be in that mix and match panel. If we're going to just have a conference in which we sell the online recordings, we might as well just do it online and forget the face-to-face altogether. Like, what we're really trying to bring to our association is this opportunity to network and to get back to face-to-face. So can I just say that, Sam, that's kind of pending, and as soon as I know more logistically, I will let you know. But at this stage, there is no intention to have the recordings to be sold to those who do not attend the conference.
Rodney's made a comment about there should be a discount regardless if you attend the conference or not, which I'm assuming is about the tools product. So
Yes.
Presumably BDAA members do.
They do. So BDAA members will receive less than market rate regardless. So whether you attend the conference or not, because the BDAA is a foundation partner, BDAA members will receive an amazing discounted rate. But because you've taken the time, the money and the effort to go to the conference, we're also incentivizing you to say thank you. Thank you for coming to the conference. Thank you for participating in this tools event. And that thank you is an additional discount as well.
Jeff has asked whether we'll receive an email with all the conference info.
Straight after this message, straight after this recording. Great. I've got it queued and ready to go, Jeff.
Great.
Yes.
I think, unless I've missed something, I'm pretty sure there's a few questions in there about tools. So are you going to post a link for the tools webpage?
No, because there is no link for the tools page. That's what they're going to be launching at the conference.
No worries. Paul has asked if there's anyone from Sydney going to the conference. That's in the chat box. There's some Sydney chat. Yes. All
So I
right.
hope you do have a chance to consider, coming to the conference. We are doing absolutely everything that we possibly can to make it an amazing experience for everyone by including the trade show, this architectural walking tour, these member fan experiences. If you're bringing your family, we've got activities to entertain your partner and your children if necessary while you're actually focusing on the conference as well. I just haven't kind of put that in the details there, but that's all going to be available as well. So I think a couple of people have actually, come back to me regarding that. So
And I'm
Okay,
going.
so-
I'm crossing Bass Strait and I'm going to be there. So I'm really
Yeah,
excited.
good one, Jen. Yes, good. So Tori's actually
yes.
put a question here, just about the QR codes. So Tori, just going forward in the short term, there are no QR codes. We just need for you to manually enter it into the CPD BDAA app. But separate from that, I see through these online recordings through Zoom who actually is attended, and that's how I'm actually able to issue you the certificate for 1 informal CPD point for attending today. So you can wait for the certificate and or you can add it manually yourself into the CPD app.
Brilliant.
So I've got one more
Roxanne
thing.
said-
Sorry, Jen.
Sorry.
One more thing to tell you. If you haven't completed the survey, I'm going to put the link in the chat in a minute, but if you haven't completed the survey regarding pricing of your business, of your services to clients, we've had hundreds of people respond so far. And what that really gives us is a really broad cross-section of how people are pricing. Because it's an anonymous survey where we can see whether people are pricing per dollar or per project, and how they're actually doing their model. So it's a really great insight. And those insights will also be presented at the national conference as well.
Great. That will be really interesting.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Nice
Thank
to see
you.
all.
See ya. So I think that's going to wrap up our meeting. The
Yes.
next meeting is on the 6th of October, 1 o'clock.
Yes. Look forward to
thank
seeing
you.
everyone there.
Yes. And thanks everyone for joining us, and we will see you then.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.